Greetings and welcome to Week 2, Unit 1. It is related to accreditation framework. As we are focusing on curriculum design, the curriculum will have to be designed keeping the accreditation framework of the country in mind. So in the last week, we understood the different contexts of designing curricula. Because contexts differ from one country to the other, sometimes from one state to the other, and so on. So the context plays an important role. In this unit, we'll try to understand the accreditation framework of NBA to design engineering programs in India. Because we are now answerable mainly to the NBA. It is necessary for all the faculty to really understand the spirit and the requirements of accreditation. Because this is something that was brought in sometime around 2015. From what I find is people are still trying to look at it as an additional burden rather than an integral part of your regular activities. So accreditation is a process of quality assurance and improvement, whereby a program in an approved institution is critically appraised to verify that the institution or the program continues to meet and or exceed the norms and standards prescribed by the regulator from time to time. As you can see that every engineering college which advertises in newspaper, it will always say NBA accredited, NAAC accredited, and so on. NIRF rankings. So they become the indicators that the programs offered by that particular college are recognized, and they are they follow all the rules and regulations and maintain the quality. So if your program is accredited, it's a kind of recognition which indicates that a program or institution fulfills certain standards. So you are not arbitrarily doing things, but you are following certain standards or regulations. And NBA mainly accredits engineering or other professional programs, whereas higher education institutions of any kind are accredited by the NAAC. NAAC is a different body that it looks at the institute as a whole, not focus on specific programs. And let us look at a little bit of background where this accreditation came from. Accreditation of engineering programs can be traced to Engineers Council for Professional Development, EPCD, which was established in 1932 in USA. It is dedicated to EPCD is dedicated to the education, accreditation, regulation, and professional development of engineering professionals and students in the United States. It is an all-encompassing body. However, EPCD in 1980 was renamed as Accreditation Board for Engineering and Technology, now called ABET. Now ABET is not expanded, the title is not expanded at all. You don't have to say ABET is Accreditation Board for Engineering and Technology. You just say ABET. Okay. Now, ABET itself has been undergoing changes. In 90, we have indicated in the earlier courses, the concept of outcome-based education was introduced in 1994, and essentially it shifts the focus of any institute from teaching to learning. That is the basic change that happened. And ABET has defined Engineering Criteria 2000. They're essentially trying to say the graduates of engineering programs will have to meet these criteria. Now, EC 2000 focus shifted to outcomes now. That's why outcome-based education. Now, what happened? Throughout the world, the spirit of EC 2000 can be found in all countries, and evaluation criteria of nearly all accreditation boards around the world follow, at least in spirit, not exactly in letter, but they follow in spirit. And another one is programs and not educational institutions are considered for accreditation by the NBA. Okay. Now in India, since around 2010 or so, ABET has been the inspiring organization for the NBA or AICTE. ABET initiated and became a founding member of Washington Accord as well in 1989. Washington Accord is a kind of a body created by initial signatories which included USA, Canada, UK, Ireland, Australia and New Zealand. Essentially, it tries to say people they all agree to work in a spirit defined by Washington Accord. That means the graduates of engineering programs will have to meet certain criteria, and these countries have agreed to meet that in their own way. It is not exactly Washington Accord gives you and you have to follow in letter. And since 1989, there are 25 permanent members, including India. India became a member of Washington Accord around 2013. Now, what is the purpose of this? Washington Accord recognizes the substantial equivalence of programs accredited by member bodies. That is, if a BE degree holder from India goes to, let us say, Ireland, now, his degree will be recognized by Ireland. Similarly, India has to recognize the BE graduate from Ireland if he comes to India. So that is the purpose. And Washington Accord recommends that graduates of programs accredited by any one of the signatory bodies be recognized by the other bodies as having met the academic requirements for entry to the practice of engineering in their jurisdiction. Okay, some company in Ireland wants to hire somebody from India. They don't have to go through any other mechanism. The graduate is coming from India, which is a member of the Washington Accord, and they can directly interview and accept him. And this essentially led to easier and global mobility of engineering graduates. People can go to any of the member countries and be accepted as graduate engineers. Now we come to India. The National Board of Accreditation, India broadly follows EC 2000 criteria that they accepted. I know in the initial part they were closely working with the ABET. The 2025 version follows much more closely the criteria of Washington Accord. What has happened that many other countries which have written slightly differently from Washington Accord criteria, they practically, if you look at today, they directly take it as they are, because they don't have any objection to directly using them for their own country's requirements. Now coming to our NBA, it is established in the year 1994 under Section 10U of AICTE Act. NBA became autonomous in January 2010. The Memorandum of Association and rules of the NBA were amended in April 2013 to make it administratively as well as financially independent of AICTE. Earlier, it used to be part of AICTE. AICTE chairman will have control over the NBA process. Now, NBA is an independent body, and whatever their board can take independent decisions. India became a permanent member of the Washington Accord in 2014. The NBA since 2015 requires that engineering programs are conducted in the framework of outcome-based education. This is a sequence of events that happened. Now, NBA requires an institution seeking accreditation of its engineering programs to submit what is called a self-assessment report to the NBA. They have to submit this report for each one of its programs. If they have 15 programs, all the 15 programs will have to be separately accredited. If you accredit one, the NBA need not accredit another one in that institute. It depends on how the program is conducted there. Now, the self-assessment report is to be produced by the college. So the SAR is a compilation of such data and information pertaining to a given program for its assessment. And it identifies its strengths and weaknesses vis-a-vis NBA-defined program outcomes and department-defined program-specific outcomes. These POs and PSOs were discussed in great detail in the earlier courses related to this. SAR has two parts. Part A, 6 institutional and departmental information. That is a straightforward, just data. Part B, 6 information on 9 criteria. Earlier there used to be 10 criteria, but since 2025 there are 9 criteria. These are outcome-based curriculum, outcome-based teaching learning, outcome-based assessment, students' performance, faculty information, faculty contributions, facilities and technical support, continuous improvement, student support and governance. Under these 9 criteria, you have to collect data as required and make it a part of the SAR. Now, this is your own assessment how you are doing. When you send the SAR to the NBA, its role is to reconfirm or differ from the self-assessment by the department. They use the mechanism of peer review. That means they request professors from some other institutes to look at the document and actually visit the college and talk to people, look at all the data in the SAR, and then give their recommendation. We will not go through the recommendation process which were dealt in detail in the earlier course. Now, the 9 criteria are here. As you know, in India, engineering colleges come under 2 types of institutions, Tier 1 and Tier 2. More or less, the weightages given to each criterion is similar except in a few places. Okay, outcome-based curriculum, 120 marks out of total 1000. Outcome-based teaching and learning, 120. So like that, for all the criteria, as you can see, approximately they are similar. The only difference is students' performance. In Tier 1, it is 120. In Tier 2, it is 150. Okay, but otherwise, as you can see, for every criterion, the weightage given is the same. Now, we also need to keep in mind the role of NAAC as well. It was established in 1994 as an autonomous institution of UGC. It is headquartered in Bangalore. NAAC is responsible for accrediting higher education institutions under 3 categories. Instead of Tier 1 and Tier 2, now they call it universities, autonomous institutes, and affiliated institutes. They call it assessment and accreditation framework is effective from July 2017, but right now it is being reviewed and modified, but NAAC, because of its various present situations, it has not yet published the final version of the criteria. And there are three components of assessment till now. This may get slightly changed. Self-study, instead of self-assessment, they call it self-study report, SSR, and student satisfaction survey, and peer team report. Actually, self-study report, it carries about 70% of the marks. Student satisfaction survey carries about, I think, 10%. 20% is as per the peer team report. Now, instead of 9 criteria of NBA, they follow 7 criteria here. They are curricular aspects, teaching and learning and evaluation, research, innovations and extension, infrastructure and learning resources, student support and progression, governance, leadership and management, institutional values and best practices. These are further, each one is characterized by a set of key indicators. And each key indicator is further delineated into some metrics. So finally you can come out with a number. Now this summarizes our OBE-NBA framework as far as engineering programs are concerned. Here you have vision of the institute and you have mission of the institute, and they together lead to vision of the department, leads to mission of the department, because any department will have to be in alignment with the vision of the college. A college may have different vision of its own, depending on the resources, the kind of students they're getting, the kind of faculty they have. They can have different visions and missions. Now, from there, what happens, the department, you have an advisory board or board of studies, whatever you call it. They, based on the mission of the state department, they write program educational objectives. What they have been explained in the prior program. Now, the department advisory board also identifies program specific outcomes, of course in consultation with the department. And NBA defines program outcomes. These are the two starting points, POs and PSOs, that should lead to the curriculum. You cannot identify your own courses and go upwards like this. It has to come from here. Okay. So together they decide the curriculum. That is what we will present, how to go in that sequence. And the curriculum as of now, they have 7 curricular components: humanities and social sciences, basic sciences, engineering sciences, professional core, professional electives, open electives and projects. Other than project, everything else is generally offered through a set of courses. And courses are described in terms of their course outcomes. The course, how to write course outcomes and how do you design the course, that we'll also see as a later part of this, our program. Okay, so essentially you have to design your curriculum in well-defined framework which is given by the NBA. Our earlier practices were different. Maybe a university will identify a committee. That committee will just design, identify the courses that need to be offered, and that's it. So from one university to the other it may differ. How many credits what is the size of the program? Each one was using it arbitrarily. People have gone anywhere from 160 to even 220 credits. But of course, AICT now has come strongly on that. and said engineering program cannot be more than, should be in the range of 150 to 160 credits. Okay, so this was long overdue, but finally it has come. Because everybody thinks that everything should be taught to everybody. Because knowledge is growing, you want to keep on teaching them and keep on increasing the number of credits of the program. So, OBE and NBA framework is captured in this, and this actually one doesn't have a choice. The college will have to follow this. And main conclusion is curriculum will have to evolve from program outcomes and program specific outcomes. So this is what we'll present in the following one. And there is also the issue of what is a credit load. There is a lot of misunderstanding built around this that we'll try to look at in the next unit. Thank you very much for your attention.